go. Hey everybody, today is December the 29th and we're 2 days away from 2025. You know, when I started this YouTube channel, I had one goal in mind, and that was to create one video every year about some elaborate project that I was deeply passionate about at the time, and make a fun little video out of it. Well, this year I thought of doing things a little differently. I thought of talking about 2024 as a year in review. I wanted to share all my experiences, some of the biggest experiences I had, some of my biggest takeaways, failures, and successes, and wrap it up into a beautiful little video as we do every year. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I graduated school last year in 2023 and got my first full-time engineering job in Montreal, Quebec at a company called Alstom Bombardier as a mechanical design engineer. It's been great, full of learning, and really intense at the same time too. However, the most interesting part was for the first time I was living by myself. I left my house in Ontario to move to Quebec and start my own life. And you know, when you live with your mom and dad, you basically have an umbrella of protection over you at all points to ensure that you don't deviate off the right path. But when you're given this opportunity of absolute freedom when you live on your own, now that you have a steady source of income, it's up to you to choose the right and the wrong, basically. So I felt like it was essential for me to learn to live a life of discipline, basically living a healthy life, not partaking in activities that might be detrimental to my physical and mental health, and also ensuring that I took part in new endeavors that might spark interest in new fields. Sounds quite like a ChatGPT answer, right? But that is the truth though, that's how it basically is. So I guess I could call that the theme of this year, 2024, the life of discipline. So what happened this year? Let's talk about it. So January 2024, my family and I flew to Kerala, India to attend my cousin's wedding. I hadn't been there in about 10 to 11 years or something, but the vibe was incredible. Got quite a scenic area, serene vibe, beautiful people, the food was incredible. And yeah, I got a chance to meet some of my relatives I hadn't even seen in like 16 to 17 years or something. So yeah, this was an awesome trip. After coming back from this trip, I realized I had a lot of extra time with me to spare. Basically, I'd go to work, come back in the evening, and then have the entire evening for myself. So I felt like I had to do something with my time. I don't know what got into me at that point, but I felt like pursuing an MBA might be a pretty cool thing to do. So in order to get into a good MBA program, you'd have to study for this exam called the GMAT, the Graduate Management Admissions Test. Now, if you've taken the exam, you'd know it's quite a daunting exam to study for. I remember my routine was such that I would go to work, come back in the evening, study for about 2 hours, go to the gym, come back, study again, and then go to sleep. And I'd do it repeatedly for a sustained amount of time. And on the weekends, I would double down with studying. It had gotten to a point where it was such an intense routine that I think I was on the verge of burnout. And that's when I decided to call a friend of mine. So we spoke for a while and he tossed around the idea of pursuing a new hobby, something like playing a new sport or carpentry or something along those lines. Because I was looking for a hobby that was low on cognitive effort and high on fun. And it got me thinking, you know, I'm in pretty decent shape and I'm not that bad looking, so why not pursue a hobby in modeling? Because one, it was not only outside the realm of my everyday lifestyle, but two, it was also something I'd never done before. So why not do modeling? Let's see if I actually had what it took to be a model. So that's what got me started in the field of modeling. I started applying for a couple of modeling gigs and within 4 days landed my first modeling assignment, a ramp walk model for an Indian bridal collection. It was about 4 Saturdays of training followed by the big event. At the show I made some amazing friends, I met some really cool people, and I also actually landed another gig. I think a designer saw me walk on stage and then she offered me another assignment to do. It was a photo shoot at the Marriott Hotel. Now this event specifically was really cool because I had a chance to work with some more experienced models and I got a chance to learn from them and also work side by side. So that was an incredibly cool experience for me. By June, I felt like I was ready to take on the GMAT exam. I remember the day I took the exam was quite possibly one of the best days I've had in 2024. Coincidentally, my dad had flown to Montreal for a conference that very day. So after doing very well in the exam, I rushed from the exam hall to his hotel to go and break the news to him. I remember, it was in the streets of René-Lévesque. And I met him at his hotel and I told him and he was extremely surprised and thrilled. And it was a pretty good feeling that day. So we spent the evening driving around the streets of Montreal. I showed my dad some of the cooler spots we had in the city, stuff like Old Port, downtown Montreal, the Skyline, Mont Royal, etc. The very next day, I hopped on a train back to Ontario, took a couple of days off from work, and spent the rest of the week with my family, which is equally awesome. Now with the GMAT behind me, I suddenly had all this free time for myself. I decided to explore the city a little bit more and finally dive into learning French, which is a refreshing change of pace. By October, I felt the itch to start something of my own. And I don't know how I stumbled upon this, but I started a photo booth business. I wanted to learn the ropes of customer building, sales, and just running a business. and that's how I ended up starting this little side hustle. Now, a majority of the projects I've done in the past were all a solo endeavor, for example, the prosthetic limb project or any other endeavor I've taken on. But this time on, knowing unknowingly, I happened to stumble upon an incredible co-founder, Mimia. So thank you so much, Mimia. I really appreciate it. You're incredible. You know, it's fun doing stuff on your own, but when you have a solid supporter with you, it makes work a lot easier. So yeah, I'd highly recommend having a co-founder for any project or endeavor taken on in the future. So far, we've done about 8 to 9 events, but we're still running a net loss of $1,500. Hopefully by February of next year, we break even. God's grace. So what are some of the losses I took this year? Well, I lost $3,000 in crypto. I sold too early. I tried doing the bulk and cut technique where I try to gain some weight and then cut it. I spent about a month dirty bulking, and when I started noticing the veins on my biceps go away, I backed out. Now I'm back to losing that same weight, and I have all these love handles on either side of my body and it just feels disgusting. Added to that, I hurt my shoulder while doing bench press. Yeah, that was a good solid month gone, just recovering, so that was good progress that just faded away from my body too. The last month of the photo booth has been pretty slow. I haven't booked any events yet, so I have to get back into that. And I've been working on a side project with a friend of mine, and I spent a serious month just working on a specific design to see if it would work out or not, and it ultimately flopped. Let me see if I have it here. So it's actually a tie design. It's like a crest piece and a tie separately. I was trying to make something like this, but the design didn't come out too user-friendly, so I might have to figure out how to make this work a little better. So I'll have to check it out and get back at it again. Basically put it in like this. Let's try to button up here. There we go. Not too bad. And then something like this. Not too bad. So regardless of how 2024 turned out, I think it was phenomenal. I had a chance to make some incredible friends, live in Quebec, a beautiful French province in Canada, do things that I never thought I'd ever do. Most importantly, understand the value of responsibility and discipline. I think that was the biggest takeaway here. So all in all, I wanted to say thank you all for watching this video. I'll see you all in 2025. It's going to be great, pretty sure. Take it easy, guys. Bye-bye.